Hey guys, what's up? Hope you're all having a good day. So we're about to send the head away to go get crack tested and everything else as well. However, before we do that, before we give it its final cleanup, we are going to be installing a Ross Performance head drain. Now this is definitely a must-have for any RB owner. If you guys know the horrible oiling issues that they have, it's pretty much sort of like a cheap, safe insurance. So that way you can get all that oil that's pumped into your head out. So let's go out and I'll show you exactly how this mounts up. Righto guys, so in the halfway point or pretty much of just dismantling this entire engine. So the only issue that we had is we haven't been able to get one of the exhaust studs completely out just yet, but that's okay. We're gonna go get some actual tools. What is it, a helicoil?
Either helicoil, yeah. We'll try and tap it. We'll try and tap it first. If tapping it doesn't work, we'll drill it out and put a helicoil in it.
Very cool. All right, so now we have this right here, which we're going to install. So basically this right here fits in, it's around about there, isn't it, roughly?
That's the one.
There you go. So pretty much going to punch this out right here. Yeah, let's do it. Awesome.
Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
That's it, that's it.
So
there you go.
What happens is the RBs, generally they tend to pump a fair bit of oil into the head. The drainage of the head isn't that great. They've only got 4 head drains in the actual block, which are right at the back of the head here.
Yep.
Plus the one external one on the outside, on the left-hand side of the head there. So,
yep.
Generally don't drain back very well. A lot of people put these aftermarket head drains on them just so that there is an extra avenue for the organ to get back to the sun. Particularly doing high RPM sort of thing for extended periods, things like drifting. Definitely. So it's generally a pretty important or first sort of mod you'd do to an RB25 that you're using for extended.
And it's a very cheap, safe sort of
really
thing that you need to do. I think this one here retails for about $60, $70 roughly.
Yeah, something like that. I think about 80, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but especially RBs that people put aftermarket oil pumps on, definitely want to be doing that. Although a lot of people go to restrictors in the block and that. Yep. But still, it goes hand in hand with this modification. That's always sort of the first thing you chuck in RB25.
Definitely.
So yeah, this Welsh plug. There's actually nothing in behind there. There's nowhere for it to go. But under there is, you'll see when we get it out, there's actually nowhere. You don't have to be too worried about the Welsh plug. It can go anywhere. So we should just get one screwdriver on the back and just sorry, my arm's broken at the moment. So.
Did you want me to do it? Rightio.
So that pops it in there. There's actually nowhere for the Welsh plug to go. It's a lot easier if you can cock it one way. It's just easier to get it out. But if you just do it like that, we can grab it with some multis and drag it out.
Very cool.
So out comes the Welsh plug. So you can see if you're doing this on the car, that there's no oil drains until right up the other side of these two rearmost head bolts or studs, depending on what's in your motor. So it's actually quite hard to I suppose mess this up in so bad that you're going to do damage. So usually with your can covers off, say this was on the block, you're obviously not going to do it in the car because you won't be able to get to the back. So of course, have the motor out of the car. But if you're going to leave it out on the block, we normally just stick to tack rags or just oily rubber gloves, just something to catch swarf. Swarf doesn't end up finding its way down into your sump, but outside of that, it's quite a simple modification and easy modification to do. So with that out, you can see that your drain, I'll just take the O-ring off just for illustrative purposes, because the O-ring does actually seal quite nice on that surface, so it's a bit hard to get in and out. So that just sits on there like so. So all you want to do here is you want to measure around about where you want your fitting to be. That's it. So they
give you a little bit of adjustment there as well.
Yeah, they do. So that's one good thing. That's one thing I really like about the Ross product, is the fact they give you this much sort of adjustment in it. So you don't have to be too worried about it. You just got to be mindful that your top bell housing bolt's going to be somewhere around here, and you don't want to be in the way of that. So I generally like to have them about there. And generally what I like to do is I like to put my 2 holes at the most sort of clockwise extremity. Because I figure if you're going to want to move it, you're only going to want to ever move it up. You're probably never going to want to move it further down towards the bell housing. So
very cool.
I just set it about where the bell housing is going to be, and then I'll put my holes sort of right on the on the bottom on that one and sort of the top of that one, and that way you've got that much room to move.
Very cool.
What we do here is
grab a center punch, which I believe is over here.
Look at Zach.
There you go.
More on the ball than I am.
Oh, I only know where tools are. I don't know how to do anything else, apparently. How's your arm going there?
Not very good. Because we're tapping M6 bolts, use a 5mm drill bit. Now the good thing about alloy is it's very soft. This is where you'd normally chuck in just oily rubber gloves or a tack rag or anything that's
Yeah, just to stop anything from going straight through.
yeah,
And then,
exactly. To try and catch a lot of the swarf that you're going to get from drilling these holes. You do have to drill them all the way through.
That's it, but because we're going to be cleaning this whole block, whole head up,
Yeah,
it's not really an issue.
so important for us.
Yep.
But yeah, if you're doing this while it's on the block, it's very important to have something to catch that swarf.
Very cool.
And yeah, so it's pretty easy. All you want to do is make sure that you get these holes fairly straight. And the good thing about alloys, it's very soft. So. What? So obviously with these holes, you don't want to have it too far rotated because up there you're not going to get a hole all the way through.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I've done a few of these. So, so then what I normally do is just get a bigger drill bit, chuck that in the drill.
Yep.
Chuck it on reverse, and that just sort of countersinks those holes a bit. 2 reasons: it just stops anything that's sticking out of the head, protruding. It stops it from, you know, not allowing it to seal properly. Also, it makes it just a little bit easier to get the tap in and get it stuck. These bolts that Ross give you are M6x1, so M6x1 tap goes without saying. So a little bit of slippery gypsy on both of those. And yeah, just carefully. I don't actually have a thread handle at the moment, a tap handle.
Yep.
So using the trusty old shifter, but just got to make sure you keep them straight is all.
Yep.
It's a lot easier with an actual tap handle, but. And because it's nice soft alloy, there's not really much trouble in tapping these threads. They usually go in quite easy.
Yep.
That's one side done.
That's so simple.
It is very simple modification.
Excellent.
Especially for the insurance you get. All right, and it's as simple as that. It's your 2 M6x1 tapped holes. So at this point, if you're doing it on the motor, once you get this tap out, you'd be looking very carefully at removing your tack rags or your oily rubber gloves from the top. Yeah, even just what I've done when I did them on the motor, I've used a vacuum cleaner with a bit of vacuum hose, so you can get right down in there, so you can sort of vacuum everything out and try and get all the swarf out of it. Obviously, it's not ideal doing stuff like this with a bottom end on the motor, but that being said, it's not undoable either.
That's it. Yeah.
It's certainly a achievable thing to do. So the other thing you need to be mindful of when you go to install this, we'll show you is when we actually install it, do the final installation, but you've now got 2 M6 threaded holes that are not blind, so they go straight into a wet area. So on these bolts, you want to make sure you use some Permatex thread sealant, some sort of sealant to actually seal the bolts, and the O-ring actually seals the drain.
Rightio, so now engine's all built, and the Ross Performance head drain is now going in. So this is what it looks like once it's finally done, into the back of the head, and then goes out to this sort of piece here, and then down to the sump.
Down to the sump.
It's as simple as that. Might have to angle that down a little bit, you reckon? Actually.
Should be right.
Should be right.
So yeah, when you get some sleeving, some heat,
Yep.
protect it, just slide it over there. So from about there to
sounds
there,
good.
just to protect it.
Yep. We might be able to sort of tie it out the way, yeah.
Out of the way a bit.
Sounds good.
It'll be good.
Awesome. There we go, that's it all out the way there. Zip tied down. But I think in the future what I'm going to do, I'm going to get 2 right angles, so that way I can put a right angle down. It's sort of going to follow the line down there. I don't know. It's great from what it is anyway. So now what I have to do is basically put some heat sleeving around there, which I'm going to get from Motorsports, what's it, Race Motorsports?
Motorsport Accessories.
Motorsport Accessories in Brendale. So I'm going to go there, grab some heat sleeve, chuck it around there, and then should be done. So that is how you do a Ross Performance head drain. If you guys do want to get this as well for your RB25 or any other parts from Ross Performance, definitely check out the link below. Rad company, and thank you very much, Ross, for sponsoring this video. You're an absolute legend.